Good morning, my dear friends. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. It is a Monday morning. It is April 1st, so the beginning of a new month, and Easter Monday to boot. So I'm dragging a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I have some coffee here. This coffee I picked up at the local grocery store. It's like kind of a bougie one, you know? And they had it on clearance, and it was like all these, because I have like an industrial Keurig actually, which don't come at me. I know it doesn't make the best coffee. I used to have one of those Technivorm, like $300 coffee makers from like Denmark or something, Norway. Had that for a while. Gave it to someone who is now an ex-boyfriend, and he did not give it back to me. So there's that. I just found, because like I live by myself for the most part, at least if I'm not like in a relationship, and I just found that the percolator was like too much. So like, I know it's ridiculous because I'm a huge coffee person, and I get so much side eye from coffee people when I say that I have a Keurig. They're like, oh my gosh, how can you even like coffee? It is mainly convenience. And obviously I have learned over the years the correct pods to buy that give like a fairly good cup of coffee. Anyway, this particular Keurig, box of Keurig, it wasn't Keurig, it was like some other Death by Coffee or something like that. I can't remember. Death by Coffee. It's this brand that I had never heard of, and they had them on clearance, and it was chocolate hazelnut. And I honestly didn't even see the chocolate until I came home, and I'm like, oh, I don't want chocolate coffee. I just want the hazelnut. Anyway, it was 50% off, just a regular box of Keurig. 50% off. It was $10. Guys, that means I took it to the register. I'm like, are you literally selling this for $20? She was like, yeah. I said, what's in it? Like, it's gotta be pretty remarkable. So here we go, first sip. Oh, that is vile. What the actual fuck is this? First of all, no chocolate to speak of, really, except in a very like aftertaste kind of cocoa way. But like, that's not unusual for a dark roast coffee anyway that has cocoa overtones. No hazelnut to speak of. It's just a very like brassy, acidic, like kind of dry, powdery, roasty kind of coffee. It's disgusting. Well, I'm glad that we captured that on camera. Can't get my money back. Don't want to get my money back. Just don't want to have that coffee in my house. Okay. So that's a fail. We're gonna need to pour another cup, but let's do this video first, and then I'll get some more coffee, like of the usual variety. $20. Like, who are they kidding? That's disgusting. It would be unacceptable to charge $20 for a box of Keurig pods. It's not like a jumbo or family size either. It's just a regular one, like with 12 or whatever. It would be unacceptable to charge $19 for it, even if it was amazing. Because obviously there is a little bit of a ceiling in terms of how amazing a coffee can be if it's a Keurig. That was rank. Okay, with that beginning, we've got a lot of candles here for the March period that I burned. When I was looking at them, like, I'm actually really impressed. I got through a lot of candles, I think. Maybe no more than usual. It just seems like there's a ton of candles in this tub. Oh, all right. A ton of Bath & Body Works. An amazing amount of Bath & Body Works. So let's start out with the less represented companies. Let's start out with Kringle. So the first one that I bought, or that I burned, and I did not do a review of this one, I don't think, is this one, which is Winter Wonderland. I've had this one for quite a bit. This is obviously one of their soy blends, so paraffin soy. They've discontinued this. They do no longer do a soy blend, which, by the way, I think is a huge mistake. Really, I would love if Kringle like formulated an amazing like soy blend. I just do. I don't think they're going to do it because I just think they kind of crossed the Rubicon and decided to go 100% soy, and that was just it. And now it would be considered a failure, and there would probably be hue and cry from all the 100% soy people, you know? But I really think it's unfortunate because sometimes, especially when I experience an amazing candle at like Bath and Body Works or at Homeworx, especially Bath and Body Works though, you know, like those candles like that. Well, we've got it here in the tub. We're going to talk about it. Henri Bendel. That Henri Bendel candle, which is an obvious soy paraffin blend that burned fantastic and long, very minimal sooting, and the fragrance consistent throughout, deep, rich, and at least at an 8 or an 8.5 for almost the entire way down, top to bottom. I mean, frankly, that's fantastic. When I experience something like that, I just think to myself, why did Kringle give up the soy blend? Why? I mean, there's just gonna be, unless we have some other sort of like candle wax innovation, I really think there's kind of a ceiling for soy wax in terms of what it can give you. Yes, it is absolutely a given that it gives you a clean burn with very minimal soot. But it comes with a lot of other side effects. It's kind of like one of those medications where it's like, yeah, it fixes your problem, but then it gives you all these other problems. So, you know what I mean? I prefer the old medication that, yeah, it didn't have that much of like a clean burn, but it didn't give me all these other side effects. So, you know what I mean? All right, we're not gonna hijack this video about that, but I just really wish, because Kringle is very smart. They've got a great lab. They like, obviously are very thoughtful, and they love experimenting. And it just bothers me so much that their soy blend was abandoned so quickly. I mean, it was obviously a terrible soy blend. I honestly have gotten better soy blends at like Aldi's, frankly, than the soy blend that Kringle came up with. And yes, look at that discoloration. Like, this is insanity. It's insanity. Like, I could no longer burn this candle because it was so bad. And look at that. We haven't even hit the midway point yet. We have not hit the midway point. And I know that everybody loves to give Bath and Body Works all the shade for the way that their candles burn. But really only a percentage of their candles burn pretty badly. This is even worse than Bath and Body Works' bad candles. So there's that. And then there's a lot of candles that don't burn that badly at Bath and Body Works. And then there's a percentage of candles at Bath and Body Works that perform like a dream. So, okay. That rant over. Obviously, the bad coffee has set me on edge and has given me attitude now. Now someone's gonna feel my pain. So that's the major reason that I stopped burning this candle. I was burning it beginning of the month, and to be perfectly honest, I wasn't loving the fragrance anyway. I didn't think it was special. It is a, after I said that, it is a beautiful spruce with a strong fruity component to it. And I'm sorry I don't have the notes for you here. Yes, I think it is some citrus, but it's not like a bright, zesty citrus. It sits a little bit lower down into the branches. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was some other sort of fruit in here as well. It's a muted and soft kind of fruitiness, but it's a fruitiness and a spruce. That said, I just didn't love it. And I didn't love it upon it being burned, especially. There was just something kind of flat and not pleasing about it. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't off-putting. It just wasn't like special. It's the only way that I can put it. So even if it performed amazingly, I would not repurchase Winter Wonderland. But at the same time, because I got through so little of it, and that was mostly to blame of the soy blend, which they no longer even sell, then I just didn't feel like it was fair for me to do a full-fledged review for Winter Wonderland. Between us, I would probably not be interested in buying another version of it, 100% soy notwithstanding. Yeah. So that's that. Winter Wonderland, which was a bust. Did you try Winter Wonderland? Did you like it? I don't know. Okay, so that was one of my Kringle ones. And then the other 3 Kringle ones that I had were the Serene and Green, which I burned all the way down on the Graceful Fern and on the Greenleaf. And it took me so long in the month. I mean, like, I'm getting old, you know, I have the beard. It was so long getting through these candles. Not that they weren't like enjoyable, and certainly Greenleaf, which I nominated for a Best New Candle 2024, was a standout. There's no question. But I have to be honest, I just spent an entire month burning aloe and agave from Yankee Candle. Again, I felt like I was getting old. I'm growing old waiting for this candle to be done. I don't like it. With the number of candles that I buy, I need like a medium size. And because aloe and agave was actually quite similar to Greenleaf, I was kind of exhausted of the aloe candle. As good as that aloe and agave was last month, I was kind of exhausted of like those green aloe candles by the end of the month. And so to burn another one was like a lot in my heart and in my spirit. I'm not sure that aloe green candles are my jam. I prefer like kind of green vine, authentic botanical over the green aloe, but I do like green aloe. So I would have liked, and by the way, I made this a Best New Candle. Between us, I probably wouldn't repurchase it again. Certainly not in this format, just because I'm not sure that aloe is my thing. I mean, obviously I would rank it higher than like a gourmand. Like I just don't do gourmands at all. And I could definitely do an aloe. And at certain times of the year, depending upon what you're burning, it can be like a really nice palate cleanser. Oh, there's something really beautiful about that aloe. It's like a sorbet or something, right? So I could see even craving a certain aloe candle, depending upon what candles I had been burning and what season it is. But it would kind of be like a rare craving. It's not like my main thing. So there's that. But I do think objectively it's a Best New Candle. So and it performed really, really well. So there was that. But yeah, it was a lot. I'm going to be done with aloe candles for a while, if you know what I mean. Oh my gosh, Greenhouse Fern from Bath & Body Works, which I am burning right now. It's actually not a bad candle. I'm just not enjoying it as much as I should be because number one, I'm getting exhausted of the like floral herbals from Bath & Body Works, no matter how good they are. And I'm exhausted of the green aloe, and it kind of comes across like a green aloe herbal. Ugh, I just can't anymore. I'm up to here. Okay, anyway, Greenleaf was done. Look at that, all the way down to the wick clips. You're welcome. Burn like a dream, absolutely no problems. Every time that I burned it up into the 8 range, or at least 7.5, right? I really think the range of this candle was about 7 to 8.5. There were some 8.5 burns in there. A lot of them sat very comfortably in the 8 range. I do have to say the last third of the candle got a little like, you know, I was getting more of like a 7 or a 6.5 from it, but the top 2/3 were just strongly 8. So definitely best new candle and the standout of these 3. So there was that. Graceful Fern was another one in this collection. Graceful Fern has a very almost cucumber melon quality to it and a lot more amber. And the amber kind of like lights up the aquatic cucumber melon in a weird way. So it's almost like a yellow melon. It's so weird. Yeah, because actually like aquatic elements and like cucumber and melon elements go a little bit on the cool side. And then with the amber, it's like there's like a bright yellow light behind it or something. It's just really strange. It's like a yellow cucumber melon. Upon it being burned, the cucumber melon thing kind of went away a little bit more, and it was just kind of like a perfume conceptual with some like really green and vaguely herbal overtones to it. It really wasn't bad. It's just that for me, the strength in the throw is coming in at like anywhere between a 2 and a 4, which for me was just absolutely not enough. That said, it did burn all the way down. And while it's odd, it is also not unpleasant. And it's creative. It's original. I'm really happy to see Kringle do things like this, even if they're not executed and they don't land quite so well. Definitely this one is a little bit more pleasant and more smeller friendly, more mainline than the butterfly one. So of the 3, the butterfly one for me is the most acquired taste. And then this one kind of sits in the middle, and then this one is definitely the most mainline. And it's the one that I would absolutely recommend on all levels, but certainly even to a general audience of people who generally don't love the botanical. I think you're gonna like that a lot in the same way that everybody loved Aloe and Agave from Yankee Candle. So there's that. Butterfly did not do well, and I did the dedicated review on it, so go back to that. This candle is not even midway burned. It's close to that. At this point, the wicks dudded out significantly, and it didn't matter if I poured anything off. Like, they just were not gonna go any further. I noticed from the very beginning that it had problems. Like my first 1 or 2 burns were very bad. The color of the wax pool was strange. It was strangely orange in a way that you don't see, especially toward the top of a soy candle from Kringle. So I knew there were problems right away, and I would burn it sometimes for 4 or 5 hours. And it would still not pool all the way out to the sides. So there was obviously like a manufacturing and pouring kind of problem with it. I did contact Kringle and show them the video just so they would be aware. I told them I did not want another one, mainly because I just don't want to play Russian roulette with getting another candle that performs badly. Second of all, I had burned it a significant amount of the way, enough to be able to give a review. And I can't say that I could say I was in love with the fragrance. This is the most odd one of all of them. It's more cool. It has less amber in it than the Fern one. It's more biting. It's more sharp. It's more herbal. Between the two of them, I actually came the closest to liking this one. Even though the Fern one is a little bit more obviously pleasant, I do love it when they do the creative, when they do the original, when they do that one that makes you really think, and this one did. And I loved it for that reason, but I can't say that I fell in love with the fragrance itself as I went along, complicated by the fact that I just was not getting good burns from it at all. Felt like I had to fight it, nurse it, etc. And really, even when it was burning fairly successfully, like in a couple burns, it was like the greenhouse or like the Graceful Fern one coming in at a range of about 2 to 4, which is just not good enough, I think, for the amount of money that you pay for a reserve candle. And for the fact that at this size, you're gonna be burning it until you die to get it over with. Okay, so that was Kringle. A lot of misses, but some misses that I liked the direction of. So they're not entire misses. And Greenleaf, which was a #1 hit, and I highly recommend it to you. Okay, let's move on to Homeworx. And Homeworx, I have 2 candles. So the first one here was this one right here, Sparkling Grapefruit. And I finished this one up very early in the month. Ugh, man, oops. When they come in these gift boxes, they're so nice. And look at this glass. If that doesn't look like Easter and spring or even summer, oh, it's so beautiful. It makes me want to like keep the vessel. And I'm not like a person who keeps the vessel of things, but that is so pretty. Should I keep it? No. I can't do this. Like, this needs to go out of my house. Like, I am not going to become a hoarder. It's not going to happen. All right, so Graceful Grapefruit, Sparkling Grapefruit was a very nice grapefruit. And definitely the best grapefruit candle that I've burned so far. But I think the bar is really low. I haven't found that many that I've really liked. And I do think it was a little linear. It kind of just gave you a grapefruit and that was it. And for me personally, I wanted a little bit more volume. It wasn't bad. I mean, I think it was kind of, in the open concept, it was kind of like in a 5 to a 6, which isn't terrible, especially for Homeworx, but it wasn't fantastic. I would like to see at least a 7 or a 7.5 in the open concept for a candle like this. And given the fact that it doesn't have a whole lot of like funky herbs in it or other things, I really feel like you could stand to get more of a 7 or a 7.5 out of it. So I don't know that I would repurchase it. I'm still on the quest for my perfect and my like hoard-worthy grapefruit candle. It was not bad though. It really wasn't. And it gave a very beautiful and authentic and fresh grapefruit. Then there was this candle, and now that I'm looking at it, it's not actually a Homeworx candle. So I did recycle the jar here from a candle that I burned last month, which was Birchwood Vanilla, and was a very successful candle, especially if you're like a roasty, toasty, gourmandy person. So great. Definitely check out that review if you're at all interested, although I guess it's not really the season for it anymore. So actually, this candle, I have this 3-wick candle from Paddywax. And it's this. It was crushed cinnamon and amber, and it was a holiday candle that actually, I don't think I bought it this holiday season. I think I bought it last holiday season at Whole Foods of all places. And it was this beautiful like red mercury glass with a 3-wick, and I really liked it because it was a very like fresh, ozone-y, cozy kind of amber, all of those. Plus like this like very soft like cinnamon, and it might even be kind of a cinnamon complex of some cinnamon with maybe a touch of ginger. I'm not really sure, but it was like a beautiful, it wasn't a candy red, you know, hot cinnamon, and it wasn't overdoing it with this. It was actually a surprisingly nuanced candle, but too nuanced to smell. Number one. And when I had it in storage, I broke the glass on one side and I just couldn't burn it that way. So I took it out and then I put it in here, and it didn't quite fit all the way around, but I was like, okay, I'll burn it in here. And then look what happened. Like it just, like the wicks just all sunk in there. So I don't really know. I mean, that was after one burn and I was like, oh, now it's like a monster candle. Can you not do that? Like, do you need to, like when you put one candle into another candle because of like broken jars or whatever, when you transplant, does that have to be like pretty much the same diameter all the way around, or it will do that? I don't know. I feel like a novice, but that didn't work very well. So it only lasted for one burn. And like I said, I wasn't getting very much volume from that candle, which I kind of expected from the way that it was coming across on cold. So I may try it some other time, but Paddywax is just one of those candle companies that I want to love so much because I really love most of their fragrances, and they tend to lean kind of rugged, and their vessels sometimes are so gorgeous, but I just don't think that their fragrances like tend to express themselves in the way that they should. So they're kind of like to look at rather than to smell. And I'm just not in that business. That's not what I do. Like for me, it's about the fragrance. Okay, and then I have this little baby right here, which is actually, oh, I love this fragrance. It's intoxicating. So this was one of my little like top-down candle warmers that is in my master bedroom. And I've talked to you about my like walking in the evening ritual. So I will usually put a little candle on in my bedroom when I'm walking because I don't want to have obviously a wick burning in my house. And then when I come in, I light it and take it into my master bathroom, take a shower, like do all the things, very spa-like, etc. So I call these like my bedroom shower candles. Yeah. And usually the one wicks are really good for that. I mean, otherwise, what are you going to use them for? There is something kind of subtle and intimate about it too, you know, which seems appropriate for evening. So this candle company is one that I haven't actually burned that much or reviewed. This is Northern Lights, which is the smaller company that's in upstate New York. And I just bought that enormous, beautiful 3-wick or 4-wick from Wegmans, remember? In one of the fragrances that I really love from them too. I can't remember if I bought this off of their website or off of Amazon, but it was like a limited drop candle collection of like, I don't know, I feel like it was like all these, they were all conceptuals, and they were all like, I don't know, like, what do you call them? Self-improvement candles? Anyway, this one is called Care. And then there's another one that was like Love, and another one that was like Joy, or like, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, this was Care. And honestly, I can't even, I don't know what the notes are. And I don't even know if I could find them very well because I think it's been discontinued. And it was just a limited drop. But I burned this all the way down. And of course, it didn't really give off a whole lot because it's a very narrow diameter candle. And I don't know that Northern Lights is particularly known for their strength. But man, this fragrance is like intoxicating. I would 100% buy another one of these if they had one or burned one in the future, or made them in the future, produced them in another vessel, like a multiple wick. Whew, that was good. And isn't it kind of cute too? I know it's messy. There. Okay. Then we have an onslaught of Bath & Body Works, and then we'll be done. All right? So Bath & Body Works, first of all, we did Henri Bendel Vanilla Bean. Done. Where do I sign? I've already talked about this. This was incredible. I really hope they continue pouring these in exactly the same format and in the exactly the same wax like formula and strength and everything, because this was, I said this when I burned it, a game changer. If Bath & Body Works put out more candles like this, stop. Not only would it narrow the gap between Bath & Body Works and even some more premium candle companies, luxury candles, but also on top of it, like, it would just blow past a lot of their competition. And I'm talking Goose Creek, I'm talking Yankee, and I'm even talking Kringle. I think this outperformed most candles that I have burned from Kringle in the last 2 years. I mean, it was fantastic. It was fantastic. Very minimal sooting. Incredible. The fragrance is very similar to Vanilla Birch, which is kind of a long-standing one in the regular Bath & Body Works catalog. This is the format that it came out in this year. I could not burn it all the way down though, because as you can see, it extinguished itself, it got puny wicks, and it was getting really significantly discolored. And it was messing with the fragrance at that point, so I could have either put it in a crock, which unfortunately is in my work office, I don't even have one here at home, or be done with it. And because I had burned Vanilla Bean for so long, I kind of felt like I didn't need to like extract all of the fragrance from this one. This was definitely the stronger and more premium one anyway. It was, to die for. And I think that as I begin to develop my like legacy edition of winter candles, this would 100% be in the legacy edition. I want to burn this every January, no question. Vanilla Bean from Henri Bendel, which is sold from at Bath & Body Works, but only in very select locations. I bought this one at Easton Town Center in Columbus, Ohio, and they told me there that it was the only place in the world you could purchase them. But then one of you said that you saw them in Nashville, Tennessee, which is very likely because Nashville is a test market for Bath & Body Works. Atlanta, Georgia is another big test market for them, and they do a ton of candles, test candles in Atlanta. So I wouldn't be surprised if you might be able to see them in Atlanta, and I don't know what their dreams, plans, and strategies are for Henri Bendel going forward, but I'm gonna cry if they discontinue it. All right, then I burned candle number 42. For the most part, right down to the wick clips. It was dirty AF. I don't know if you can see. Oh my gosh, this was one of the blackest candles I think I have burned from Bath & Body Works. But remarkably, it doesn't smell that sooty even now, and it's because the fragrance is in fact so strong, and with the cinnamon overtones, and it inclines itself toward a certain smokiness too. And I don't know if the smokiness is actually in the candle. It's supposed to be vintage leather, which I think is vetiver. There might be some smokiness originally in the candle, but the smokiness that's added from the sootiness just seems to like, I don't know, coalesce with it in an almost like organic fashion. So not only will the sootiness not destroy your fragrance, but it actually may enhance it, which is really, really nice, and one of those kind of silver linings to certain kinds of especially cozy weather candles. This number 42, I guess, is coming back as vintage memories. Should have been vintage vinyl. I will probably refer to it as vintage vinyl going forward. If I had to conjecture, I would say we're gonna see this back in like the first or second fall candle waves of this year, because they're gonna want it to be in our recent memory since we engaged, we voted for the name, etc. And it really is a beautiful fall leaning candle. So I think we're gonna see it maybe in August. We'll probably see number 33 too, because it would be like admitting defeat for one of them to come back and not the other one. But I don't think it's as successful. But it would also make sense in a July or August kind of first wave, because it has a big lemon note in it. And I think that you could definitely do that for summer. It was kind of a much more versatile candle than this one was. Gorgeous. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. It is a little bit in the genre of coffee and whiskey, but a little bit more assertive and a little bit more complex than coffee and whiskey. So I'm really happy with that one. I think it's fantastic. If it had performed a little bit better, I think I would have been tempted to make it at least an honorable mention for Best New Candle of the Year. Let's see what happens when it comes out later this year. Okay, then I had some tropical ones. I had Beach Weather, which I burned all the way down, but I'm not gonna lie to you, a lot of that was hate burning in the guest bathroom with the door closed because I didn't want to experience it. Beach Weather performed very well. I mean, like a dream, it burned down. No sooting, very high volume. I would say at least in the 7 to 7.5 range, consistently top to bottom. And for me, it was just too overwhelming. I thought it smelled kind of, I don't know, it had this like freshness and authenticity. It says sandalwood, coconut, breezy palm trees, and crashing waves, all of which are like, I want this candle. I'm not convinced that that's what this candle actually is, because for me, there is a strong floral component, and it might be neroli, but it is like taking over the world and overwhelming everything else, such that I don't even notice the coconut that much, or trees, or even anything aquatic. I mean, it's just like the neroli like smothers everything. And at the 7 to 7.5 range, like it was getting in my brain and like giving me a headache. And I'm not even prone to headaches because of florals. So for me, it was a no bueno. Maybe it was just hitting me in a certain way. I don't know. I was in the throes of like early spring allergies too. So maybe it was just the wrong season, the wrong place, the wrong time for me to burn it, because otherwise it burned fantastic. And I've heard from a couple of you that beach weather is a little on the polarizing side, and I can completely understand why. Because I was kind of excited about it on cold, and then when I burned it, it was not a good experience. Although I'm sure that it has its fans because it performed so well. The strength and the volume was so great, and it really is a beautiful fragrance, especially if you like a very heady, like tropical floral. Talking about tropical florals, this one I adored, and it was Tropidelic. And unfortunately, I could only burn it about halfway before it started getting sooty enough to start shifting the fragrance. So this one is definitely one for the candle crock, and I would put it in the candle crock if I had one here at home. It's just too fragile of a botanical, I think, to stand up to sooting, which is the opposite of like a candle number 42. So with this one, unfortunately, even the smallest amount, you're going to start smelling it, and it will kind of distort the fragrance in a way that's not good, because this is so stunning. Oh, this is such a creamy. So whereas this one is like kind of a heady, aggressive, screaming at you kind of tropical floral, this one sits much lower in the register. It's creamy, it's kind of vaguely fruity, and it still has all of those amazing florals. And I get the sense with this one that it's not just one floral. It's not just a neroli, for instance. It's several different florals combined, and they're all kind of speaking like, no, not one is overpowering another one. And there is a very green and dewiness about it, which is also so fantastic. For me personally, I was getting banana leaf or banana blossom kind of overtones, which I thought was fantastic. It like married it, and it just took it to that really special tropical place. I love this candle. I like it better than all of the other florals that I like it better than Best Blooms, than Dressed in White. Like, I really love this one, and my love for it has grown. At first, when I took it home, I just was like, it's just too weak. It's too weak, right? But, and I can't say that it's strong. I mean, it's definitely like a back bedroom kind of candle. It's not going to do particularly well in the open concept. But it's beautiful for a big master bedroom, like in terms of the fragrance profile. And I was definitely getting at least a 6.5 or a 7, you know, in the more contained space, which is absolutely fine with me. I just adore like kind of green botanical elements if they're super authentic, super botanical, you know? Not like candy banana, not gourmand banana. Oh, it's everything. And guess what? I yesterday went and I got another one. I exchanged number 33 for this one. I was like, why am I sitting on 33? I'm like, because like when you have something to exchange, you just think like, I'm going to sit on this and wait for like the new fancy candle to come out and then I'll exchange it. And then I was like, you know what? Be safe. Be safe. You don't know when that extra special candle is going to come out. And like, is there something on the floor that you would really, really prefer to number 33? And I was like, yeah. And then if something else comes out that's splashier, that's better than Tropidelic, I can always exchange this one, you know? but I don't think I will. I really wanted, after I burned this Tropidelic, I wanted one that I could burn in like July or August. Ugh. And now I'm so excited because I can. Okay. Then I did Gwen's Note. This was a fantastic candle. Like super close to best new candle. Oh, it smells so good. But let me tell you something. Initially, there was something wrong with the pouring of it. So when you smell this in the store, it smells so bad. It smells so bad. But it's just the top layer, and it might have something to do with the lid itself, or like I said, with the pouring process. It reminds me of like last year or the year before that, they had like Fishgate. Remember where the lids like smelled like fish and they made the candles smell really awful? Yeah. Very similar. Something happened in the process because I was in the store the other day and I like lifted the lid on one of the Gwen's Notes and I recoiled. I was like, what? This is not the fragrance that I experience once I burn it. And now that I've burned past that problematic layer, oh, this is so good. It's lavender and sandalwood, I think. Yes, sandalwood, sage, and lavender. It is gorgeous. I think I want another one of these. And since it didn't sell well because it smells terrible on cold, I think we'll probably have a lot of them and maybe see them in semi-annual because I am here for it. Gwen's Note was fantastic. I have yet to burn Anna's Garden or Yumi in the Sea, but they seem like fantastic too. I think that this like Black History Month collection was snatch. It was incredible. And I'm really happy with that because the Black History or the designer collections up to this point have been very ho-hum. This was the first collection where I was like, yes, we have new candles and they are great, you know? And they were just completely underhyped and the packaging was so boring. And I feel bad because they were like specifically designed by someone, but obviously that design vision was not executed properly. So it just kind of looks cheap and boring. Highly recommend Gwen's Note. If you are the kind of person that likes a sandalwood candle, that likes a soft lavender, not a hard one, because I'm not necessarily a lavender person either. And I wouldn't worry if you're like not super herbal, but especially if you like kind of soft herbal candles, and Bath & Body Works has been giving them out like candy over the last 3 months. Definitely check this out. I think this is one of the better soft herbals that they've put out in the last 3 years. And gosh, I think this candle needs to come back. Maybe with a different name. I don't know. Actually, a different name might be good. Sorry, Gwen. But like now everybody has like bad impressions because of something that was out of your control. So I think a repackaging, a remarketing, and definitely a better production process so that they don't have that like grody, funky, horrible, almost burnt smell on the top of it, which just like, it just dissuaded everybody from purchasing it. And it's such a shame. One of the biggest disappointments of the year, I would imagine, and I will probably still be talking about it in the year in review at the end of the year. Okay, Wild Rose and Suede was another one, and this was in the conceptual Freudian slip. This was in the neutrals line, and it came out at the same time as the Blue Lime and Verbena, this one right here. And they are both perfume conceptuals. I mean, if you haven't watched my Blue Verbena, definitely like check out that review. I basically make the argument or the claim that I think that there are several kind of perfume conceptuals. I think piggybacking on the success of Salted Amber and Vetiver, which was last year, and it was a best new candle for me, and it also came in this Neutrals line, which is also a very premium perfume conceptual that leaned aquatic. This is a perfume conceptual here that leans linen or cashmere or cotton-like, and this is a perfume conceptual that leans herbal, green, with a little bit of citrus. And they don't smell the same in terms of their notes, but the profile of the fragrances are the same. And I really appreciate that Bath & Body Works is kind of committing to this premium perfume conceptual kind of direction, and with various like natural overtones, aquatic or herbal or cotton blossom, like that kind of thing. I think it's fantastic. I do think that they're kind of orienting toward Nest, New York, toward Jo Malone, toward Molten Brown, those kinds of fragrances that are basically perfume conceptuals with strong natural elements to them. And so, and given the success of Salted Amber Vetiver, I think it's fantastic that they're really committing to this. That said, these two candles were not executed as well as Salted Amber and Vetiver and did not perform as well. Blue Verbena and Lime did burn down to the wick clips, but I would say for at least half of the candle burned very low. Not full-fledged puny wicks, but very low. This one did develop puny wicks, this Wild Rose and Suede. Oh, I love the smell of it though. And it didn't get so sooty that I can't still smell it. Oh, if I had a candle crock here, I would definitely stick it in there and like finish it up because I really like the fragrance of this. It is a very kind of laundry day perfume vibe. And I don't usually like laundry day kind of scents. But this one is fresh, it's clean, it's premium, it's got some floral dimensions to it. It's just fantastic. And as I said in the review, it makes me smile. I don't know what. With both this one and Blue Verbena Lime and this last one, which is Cardamom and Vetiver, I have the similar problem with all three of them, with the exception maybe of Cardamom and Vetiver. Blue Verbena and Lime and Wild Rose and Suede had strength and throw that was lower than it should have been. So both of them kind of were in the 4 kind of region. And 4 might be a little bit generous. Frankly, both of them lived in the guest bathroom for most of their time once I kind of discovered that, and didn't do particularly well even when the guest bathroom door was open, for instance. So the strength and throw was not where it should be for these two. But then on top of it, they both had a real heaviness once they were burned. So whatever elements there were bright and forward and fresh and kind of botanical or authentic, kind of sunk into the candle once they were burned. And then the whole thing came across as very muddy and just very like perfumey in a more cliched kind of way. Oppressively heavy. So once you got them in a space where you could get them up to like a 6, a 6.5, then it was way too much and you didn't want to smell it. So I just think they're not quite executed the way that they need to be. There should be a lightness and a brightness, notwithstanding the perfume element, and they should have good projection, and neither of them do. Salted Amber and Vetiver was a little bit better about that. Cardamom and Vetiver actually was marginally better in terms of strength and throw. I want to say, now this one I kept in the bedroom and did not have to move it to the guest bathroom. And in the bedroom, shut up and burned for a few hours, could definitely get up easily to that 6, 6.5 kind of range. So it was fine back there. It definitely performed better in terms of strength and throw, but not in terms of like the sooting and the puny wicks, unfortunately. And this is a common theme with the Neutrals collection, which I think the entire collection needs to be looked at. And they need new wicks, they need new formula, they need something. But it's so strange that like the majority of really bad burners at Bath & Body Works now are almost all concentrated in this Neutrals line. So there is something here that is not firing the way that it needs to fire. I don't want the aesthetic to go away because I think it's fantastic and premium and subtle and classy and cool. But in the burning of the candles, there are some major technical things that need to be looked at because there's just, the majority of them do not burn well. The majority of them. So they need to go back to the drawing board. Cardamom and Vetiver, for me, is basically Palo Santo and sage. And I know that there are some nuanced differences, but not enough differences, frankly. Cardamom and vetiver, it's so strange. In the store, I thought that it was too weak. And then when I got it home, I thought it was too strong. So it's kind of strange. And I was constantly comparing it to Palo Santo and sage because although unlisted, there is a very strong wood note in this candle. It's not just vetiver. It's not just vetiver. It's like a freshly hewn wood kind of smell. To my nose, it's the Palo Santo note that they use in Palo Santo and sage. Yes, it might be vetiver as opposed to sage, but frankly, given the way that both of them come forward in both candles, it's kind of 6 or half dozen. They smell very similar up against that Palo Santo wood. And I'm not smelling any cardamom at all, period. End of story. Next. Cardamom is it's a very pronounced kind of fragrance note. Cardamom is in Sweet Vanilla and Horchata from Yankee Candle from a couple months ago. That is a true cardamom note, no question. There's no cardamom that I can smell here at all. The only possible cardamom nuance, and I said this, is that as with blue verbena and lime and wild rose suede, once this is burned, the fragrance for me gets very heavy, very heavy. So up in the 6 and 6.5 range, it just was heavy in a way that I don't recall Palo Santo and sage being heavy. Yeah? There was a cleanness and a spa-ness and a ruggedness, but also maybe like a fresh ozone quality for Palo Santo and sage that drove away from this like really heavy kind of feeling, which frankly you would kind of expect from a Palo Santo and sage. But for whatever reasons, Palo Santo and sage does not go that direction and manages to keep a much lighter like profile. It comes across lighter than you would expect. Cardamom and vetiver just kind of sat in the pocket in kind of a very stolid way. And there was a vague soapiness that I wasn't getting from Palo Santo and sage. And that's possibly a nuance of cardamom because cardamom does kind of smell soapy sometimes. So it's possible there is cardamom in here and was contributing some sort of soapy aspect. But frankly, I think that's kind of like the worst aspect of cardamom that you want to try to cover up. Yeah? You want to let the like amazing exotic brilliance of the spice to come forward without like the soapiness underneath. Yeah. And so this one is like no spice, maybe all soap. It's a no for me. It's a no. For me personally, I will just buy Palo Santo and sage. I know, but one of you said that you loved cardamom and vetiver, as well as Palo Santo and sage. So, and I have to be honest, it smells so good smelling it. Kind of like the wild rose and suede. So good. Honestly, almost every day I think about this candle and I'm like, was I too harsh on cardamom and vetiver? Like maybe I just was having a bad week. Like maybe it just wasn't like landing for me. Maybe I was hormonal. Like I don't know, you know? Like was that candle really... Maybe it's fine. I mean, I still think it's redundant of Palo Santo and sage. But maybe I didn't give it a fair shake. I don't know. I just wouldn't. I don't know why it's on the floor. I don't know why we have this candle that is so redundant of Palo Santo and sage. At the same time, the Palo Santo and sage is on the floor in 2 formats, one of which is neutrals. Like, why? Like, I get it. I adore Palo Santo and sage and anything that's kind of reminiscent of it, but like, it's a no. It's not a good use of space, of creative energy, of a candle, etc. It's just not. And it kind of steals the thunder from Palo Santo and sage, frankly. So I think I feel a certain kind of way about it, specifically for that reason. All done. That was March. I think it was a pretty good, I'm impressed with what I got through, especially with those monster candles from Kringle. So I'm happy with it. March is over. We're going into April. We're going into April. I still have so many herbal candles to burn. They need to be burned soon because we're heading into that period where it's like full-fledged spring, you know? And for some reason, like the herbals don't sit as well. I guess you could do them all the way through summer though. Yeah, okay. Why do I need to? Yeah. Maybe some herbals feel more spring and summer like, and some feel more like cool weather. Maybe I should distinguish on the basis of that. Because there were so many candles here, I'm probably not going to give you links, but I will at least try to list all the candles mentioned down below. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for joining me in March. Most of these have dedicated candle reviews unless I specifically said that I didn't have them. Like the Northern Lights one, the Winter Wonderland from Kringle, etc. All right. I'm excited. Let's do April. I'll catch you in the next one.